Hello, everyone. Bishop Patrick Wooden, a fiery and outspoken voice in the church, has shared his reaction to the sudden and shocking death of conservative activist and Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk, a figure who, for years, was a lightning rod for praise and criticism alike. And Wooden's response is as much about the man as it is about the cultural war that defined his career. Now, when news first broke that Charlie Kirk had passed away, many were stunned not only because of his relatively young age, but also because of how deeply entrenched he had become in American political discourse. He was a leader who had built a massive platform, mobilized countless young conservatives, and shaped the tone of debates on college campuses and beyond. Bishop Wooden, known for his passionate sermons and uncompromising stances, approached this moment not with silence, but with a clear, thought-provoking perspective. He emphasized that no matter where one stood politically, Kirk was a human being created in the image of God, and his death serves as a sobering reminder that life is fleeting and eternity is certain. In his address, Wooden spoke about how Kirk often championed values such as free speech, limited government, and faith in America. And while many disagreed with his tone or delivery, there was no denying that Kirk had influence and courage in the face of hostility. Wooden praised his boldness, but also urged listeners to consider the eternal questions. What is our legacy, and where do we stand with God when our time comes? He framed Kirk's passing as a call to reflection, not celebration, saying that in this polarized culture it is far too easy for people to gloat over the death of someone on the other side, when in reality death levels the playing field and forces us all to reckon with the bigger issues of faith, purpose, and salvation. For about 30 minutes, Wooden unfolded his thoughts with the passion and conviction he is known for, weaving in scriptures, anecdotes, and cultural observations, making it clear that while Kirk's earthly work, his rallies, speeches, debates, and media presence has come to an end, the conversation about truth, conviction, and morality continues. He reminded his audience that just as Kirk gave his life's energy to shaping young minds and influencing the direction of American politics, each believer must decide what they are willing to give their energy toward, because only what is done for Christ will last. Wooden acknowledged that Kirk's critics often accused him of being brash or divisive, yet he insisted that history has always remembered people who stood unapologetically for what they believed, even when the crowd booed them, and he likened that to the boldness of biblical figures who dared to be different in their times. Throughout his reaction, he urged Christians not to get lost in partisan bickering, but to see the spiritual lessons behind the moment. That life is a vapor, that power and influence cannot prevent death, and that the most important question is where our souls will spend eternity. Wooden concluded his remarks with both a pastoral tone and a prophetic warning, saying that Charlie Kirk's sudden departure should awaken every listener to examine their own hearts, to realize that tomorrow is not promised, and to use their platform, whether large or small, for advancing the kingdom of God rather than chasing applause or engaging in endless culture wars. This was not merely a eulogy for a political figure, but a sermon wrapped in cultural commentary, delivered with Wooden's trademark energy, passion, and uncompromising devotion to truth. And it has left many both in and outside of the church pondering not just Kirk's life, but their own. Charles James Kirk was born on October 14, 1993, in the Chicago suburb of Arlington Heights, Illinois, and raised in nearby Prospect Heights. His father, Robert W. Kirk, is an architect who was involved in the construction of Trump Tower. His mother, Catherine, née Smith, as a former trader at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, who subsequently worked as a mental health counselor. He had one sibling, a younger sister, Mary, who is now an art curator in Chicago. Kirk later described his parents as moderate Republicans. His father was a donor to Mitt Romney's 2012 presidential campaign. Raised in the Presbyterian Church, Kirk was a member of the Boy Scouts of America and earned the rank of Eagle Scout. During his time in middle school, he read books by economist Milton Friedman, to which he attributed his political awakening. In 2010, during his junior year at Wheeling High School, Kirk volunteered for the successful U.S. Senate campaign of Illinois Republican Mark Kirk, no relation. In his senior year, he initiated a boycott of cookies at the school's cafeteria to reverse a price increase. Thanks for watching.